And now, direct from Las Vegas, it's Football Forecast Weekly.
Welcome to Football Forecast Weekly. Hi everyone, I'm Trip Mitchell. In just a second, we're going to join the Sheriff of Vegas, Dennis Tobler. Dennis has got some great opinions on this week's games, and when he has great opinions, people make money. Let's talk about two matchups that traditionally are some of the best of the season. One is Oklahoma, Texas. Now, the Texas program had so much talent coming back from a disappointing team last year. People saw them as a potential national championship contender. That has not happened, but this game will be very, very important for Texas. And another border war is coming up this weekend also. Oregon, my favorite team in the country. I've been with them all the way. They're out there laying so many points, yet they're still doing a great job. They're basically going to go up against their crosstown rival, Washington, and they're laying 13.5 points. A lot of value there if you want to play Washington. But you know who's going to have some great opinions on this? The Sheriff. Dennis, what do you think of these two games?
Let's take a look at these games that you threw at me again this week. It seems like you picked the hardest ones on the board. Anyway, the first matchup, Oklahoma and Texas, that game's always played on a neutral field in Dallas. And Texas actually does have a little bit of a home field advantage there because it's normally during the Texas State Fair and there's a lot of Texas fans there. But believe me, Oklahoma brings their people. But for OU to be favored by 13.5 or 14 points in this spot seems like too many to me. I watched Iowa State and Texas last week. Texas was lucky to get out of Ames with a win. And matter of fact, it took a couple of referees' calls here again to get them the win in Ames. And Iowa State's just not that powerful of a team. So Oklahoma has showed signs of brilliance at times, but still, as I told you in a previous show, Stoops is having a little trouble recruiting depth. So all the talent at Texas, and with Mac Brown's job on the line, I'm going to have to take Texas in this spot and take the 14 points and hope there's a little value there. On to the next matchup, Oregon and Washington. I have to say that Oregon just might be the best team in the country, and I sure hope Oregon and Alabama play for the national title this year. I would like to see the traditional offense drop back, block and run offense and defense against the newfangled football that Oregon plays, because it'll be really exciting to see which one can win out in that situation. Now, Oregon, too, is a huge 13.5 or 14-point road favorite at Washington. The Huskies are not that bad. Last week I told you on the show that Stanford was taking all the money, and that line moved from 7 up to 9 on Stanford, and Washington gave them all they could handle. Matter of fact, Stanford barely came out with the win. So going on the road this week to play Washington, who's a little perturbed about losing to Stanford, is going to be a tall order for Oregon. However, this new way of football will come into being in this game. Washington plays a more traditional set, and Oregon plays, like I say, newfangled football. So until somebody can stop Oregon, I'm going to go with Oregon in this matchup. As big a points as it is and lack of value that's probably there at that point, I'm going to ride Oregon through this one and just think that they have too much scoring power for any traditional offense to keep up with. So that's a look at the college games for this week. I'll be back with those news and notes in just a minute.
And now our segment I nicknamed the Walk Softly and Carry a Big Stick segment. Dennis, as the Sheriff of Vegas, you've got your eye out for some guys giving out some bad information. Tell me about it.
Well, thanks, Trip. Yeah, and to reiterate a little bit for everyone out there that may not have seen every show, I've always been a critic of people who proclaim themselves to be experts and then put out information that real people gamble their hard-earned money on. Because gambling is recreational, I understand, but even in a recreational sense or in a professional sense, I can't stand people who are not experts giving out their expertise. A couple weeks ago, I exposed the Las Vegas Review-Journal and their group of handicappers. It's really just a little tight clique of guys that want to promote each other's business. And not that I want in this clique, by all means. I have no qualms about the press. I've never met a sports publisher or a sports editor that knew anything about the sports that they were actually writing about. So anyway, just to keep you up to date, we've been going over a couple times during the year their Friday paper with their top 4 handicapper selections. As you can see again this week, 1 and 3. Each and every one of these supposed professional experts, and one's the editor of the newspaper, one's a handicapper, one's a TV announcer. Each and every one of them have a losing record on the year. After 5 weeks of NFL football and college ball, they all have losing records. I can't remember when they did better than 1 and 3. So you can take that information and trash it, because all they're doing is leading you astray. So on Sunday, they come out with their picks for Sunday. And I've showed you this before too, where their top 10 premium people that they get their information from, 2 of them being sports book operators, which why in the world, with the conflict of interest, would a sports book operator ever give you plays to bet on? And that begs the question, why would the Review Journal sports page print such material? Well, I just want you to understand that of these 10 handicappers, only one is sitting at 500. There's won as many games as he's lost. He has 2 pushes, and if you actually put the real closing line in on his games, they would probably lose 2. So after 5 weeks of NFL action, these are some of the records. 6 and 16, 7 and 17, 7 and 19. Now there's some pushes involved in here, but when you realize that all these guys added together are so far below 500 that if you played each and every one of them for the rest of the year, you're going to run out of bankroll before you ever get a chance to get it back. So be careful where you get your information. I'll be right back with you and talk about my network of pros.
Dennis, thanks for keeping an eye on these guys. A lot of them are not the nicest guys in the world, and they give out some bad information. Speaking of information, but this time on the good side, Dennis, your national network of pros is giving you some great insight. In particular, your game of the year 2 weeks ago in New Orleans was a great pick and made a lot of people a lot of money. And you also gave out New Orleans against the Bears. This week, a much tougher opponent, the Patriots, coming off their first loss of the season. This should be a great game, and I'm excited about this game. And then another game on the West Coast, San Diego and Indianapolis. Now, listening to the pundits this week, a lot of people are saying Luck is really gotten himself into that elite level of quarterback in only his 2nd season. This will be a big matchup against San Diego. Dennis, tell me about these matchups.
You can bet your bottom dollar I'll be keeping my eye on these guys, and I'm going to call their bluff. Make sure everybody gets it through Twitter, Facebook, and all the information I can put out there until we can get some of this stuff cleaned up. All right, on to the NFL this week. The NFL is crazy as it is all year. People are still just lining up to bet Denver, the New England Patriots, the Green Bay Packers, and it'll continue to be that way. I wanted to touch on a moment my nationwide network of pros, because a week or so ago I gave you New Orleans as one of my biggest plays of the year, and on Monday night they absolutely stomped. And I've watched New Orleans, and I was tipped off to their improvement by my scout JPR down in the Southeast. And I went back and I looked at the game film and I watched and I seen what they're doing. And what New Orleans has really done, besides getting their coach back and getting the bad times behind them, they hired Rob Ryan, Rex Ryan, the coach of the Jets' brother, away from the Dallas Cowboys to run their defense. Well, ever since Ryan has come on board, he changed from a 4-3 defense to a 3-4 defense. And you can see by looking at the statistics, last year the Saints gave up more yards than anyone else in the NFL. This year, the numbers are way down. And not only are the yardage way down, so are the points scored against the Saints. They've done a terrific job on defense, and that gives Breeze more time on the field because there's never been a question about their offense. This week, New Orleans is on the road to play the New England Patriots. You see what happened to the Patriots when they went on the road last week? They fell on their face, We predicted it right here on this show. And this week, I think the Saints are going to step up there and they're going to knock off the Patriots again. The Patriots are really injured. Brady is a little upset. He doesn't have the talent to throw to that a Peyton Manning has or Rodgers has. So he's trying to make the best out of a situation that's not too good. And they just keep getting hurt and hurt and hurt. While New Orleans Saints are on a roll, there's no doubt about it. Breeze is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and I look for them to go to New England and beat the Patriots straight up. So let's take the Saints this week. Thanks again to JPR for all the information. And it's a good time to mention to you that I've been in this business for 35, 40 years, so I have people stationed all over the country. Bookmakers, bettors, people that contact me with information, and some people I employ also. That's how we put together all of the information that originates here, is assimilated here, and disseminated from this office to all the hedge funds, sports books, and wise guy players around the country. All right, one more pro game we're going to touch on real quick here. The Colts are laying 1 point at San Diego this Monday night. San Diego went to Oakland and laid an egg in the late game. Nobody's seen it because it didn't start until midnight Eastern time. So San Diego, I thought, was turning the corner. They got rid of Norv Turner. They played pretty decent the first few games of the year, and they played with intensity. At Oakland, they turned the ball over 5 times. Oakland turned the ball over none. So there was the difference in that game. They didn't even show up. So with the Colts and their great quarterback, Andrew Luck, who is going to be a great one, there's no doubt about it, going in there, playing a tough defense, putting the pressure on Phillip Rivers and that San Diego offense, they may get the turnovers and win the game here. Although I'd like to trend towards San Diego at home, I just can't take them. I'll lay the point and take the Colts. So that's it from here. Dennis Tobler, out.
Well, Dennis, that's great information. And for those of you who think that coaching isn't as important as talent in the field, take a look at the situation in New Orleans. So that should be a great game this weekend. You know what, Dennis? By the way, thanks for keeping these guys down in Vegas honest, because these guys give out some bad games all the time, and no one holds them accountable, and that's what you do. And speaking of being held accountable, your record this year has just been great. Your national network of pros has really provided some wonderful information. And also, if you want to go with my picks, Trips Tips is doing very, very well. And we're very proud. We'll give you out a game on Saturday, Sunday, and then the Monday night game. Well, thanks for watching. For everyone at Football Forecast, I'm Trip Mitchell, and we'll see you next time.